We got ourselves an exquisitely wrapped package this time, Gary. Oh, fancy Anbernic. I never thought I'd see the day. Oh, we have ourselves, it looks like, a warning not to connect to the internet. We also have the most expensive and powerful Anbernic handheld made to date, the Win600. Take this guy out. Oh, wow. That's a thick boy. What else did we get in here? User manual, wipes, a screen protector. I will do this off camera. I can't afford to screw this one up. And a box. What's in the box? Oh, open it up upside down. We have a US power adapter, USB-C cord, and this, just in case I ever need to move to, what is that, China? For travel use. If you ever need to go to China, that's what their plugs look like. It's a very nice box. I am going to keep that. But first, I'm going to clean off the screen. It has some smudges on it from the strap. And, boy, I can't get over it. That's a really sharp-looking handheld. Thumbsticks are going to be a problem. But we're going to apply the screen protector, charge this sucker up, and make sure that she works. I think I have my first flawless screen protector application since I did it live on a 353M. Initial first impressions, I really like the D-pad. It looks like a more scaled up version of the 353M along these lines. Buttons, classic Anbernic buttons. D-pad has a nice feel to it. You have a home button, you have a Windows button, select, start, your sticks. Just right off the bat, these are going to kind of be hard to use. You might be able to find the right position to use them, but if you're using this and running around, I don't know. It seems like they're straight down, which can work on a smaller handheld where you're not covering as much real estate. Up top, L1, R1 buttons, L2, R2 buttons. They're buttons, they're not triggers. They look like triggers, but they're not. You have a single USB-C port on top for charging and for OTG. You have USB-A on there. If you have a low profile flash card like those Samsung ones that are like yay tall, you can kind of plop that in there. It won't even detract too much. We have downward firing speakers. We have a headphone jack on the bottom. Love that. Got your volume and power on the side. I'm not sure what this button does. We're going to find out. This switches you from gamepad to mouse mode. And then the back, Anbernic model Win600 with one chunky fan. Looks like you have fan vents up here and the fan back there and a cool hologram sticker. We got this from our good friends at Geek Buying. They sent us over the 8GB RAM model, 256 gigs of onboard storage, and it's the 3050E model, so it should have a fair amount of power. I think the battery has passed. So what we're going to do, going to use this handy charger. We're going to charge up this sucker, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to continue the review. This is honestly the first Anbernic handheld I've had that didn't come with at least 80% charge. But this was released over a year ago, and since this video is going to be a is it worth it 1 year later review, I mean, you kind of got to expect that if this has been sitting on a shelf in China for a year, maybe the battery has drained. But we're going to turn it on. The light has turned red. We are receiving power. We'll let this charge for a couple hours, and then we'll see what happens. Dun, 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 dun. Breaking news. I let it charge for like 5 minutes, and I tried to turn it on while it was plugged in, and it worked. So it must have been dead, and just needed a little bit of a trickle to get up and running.
Hi there, I'm Cortana, and I'm here to help.
Please go away, artificial intelligence.
A little sign in here, a touch of Wi-Fi there, and we'll have your PC ready for all.
Shut up, Cortana. So what I did was
use your voice or the keyboard
Shut
along
up.
the way, and if you'd like me to stay quiet.
I switched it to mouse mode, and now I can use this guy as my mouse. It's not ideal, but it's better than hooking an actual mouse to it. I'm going to go through this Windows nonsense off camera. Well, I thought we'd start out and see what we can do, kind of what we can max out at. And I think a game like Fallout 4 on low settings, it's going to hover between 30 and 25 FPS. It's very playable. It's not smooth. I was someone that had a PC that was always 3 or 4 years behind the curve, so it doesn't really bother me. But if you're a purist looking for 60 FPS, this ain't it. But it is playable. Oh, geez, what are you doing up there? Uh-oh, there's a death claw over there. You gonna come over? What's going on? Am I gonna have to go down there and get him? Oof. Yeah, he's mad. Nothing to worry about. Crap, 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 crap. Now this is bare minimum tweaking. I just set it to low and ran it. I didn't update any drivers. I didn't, try to lock the FPS or anything. I just wanted to see how it run. And it runs. Ugh. There is probably a lot more room you can tweak out of this. I know there's scripts where you can disable a bunch of Windows bloatware. You can install those tiny Windows versions that are stripped of a lot of the fluff, but to give you kind of an out-of-the-box experience, Fallout 4 is playable. It might not be great if you're sensitive to the FPS issues, but to me it's playable. So AAA games, mixed bag. Now what we're going to play next is more of an indie game, and it's not as graphically intensive. It'll run all day long, and it'll look beautiful. So obviously this is Dark Deity. This is a game I actually backed on Kickstarter. It's like a modern indie Fire Emblem. I know, you're shocked that I would like a game like this. It's a fun little game. It's going to run around 60 FPS for the most part, and you're going to have no problems playing a game like this.
At least you'll die on your feet.
Whoa.
Didn't give him much of a chance, huh?
No, you straight up murdered that dude. So yeah, you can play low-end indie games like this all day long, and you're not going to break a sweat. And if you really wanted to, you can go in there and lower the power draw and get more battery life out of it. I wanted to do more of a AAA game and an indie game. I didn't want to do too much Windows stuff. I wanted to focus on emulation. Let me know if you want to see me try to run a bunch of Windows games. Maybe I'll do a Fallout video. Just let me know in the comments. Another pleasant surprise with this was that some Switch games are extremely playable. On the Discord, our tactical RPG of the quarter is Let Us Cling Together. So just for S's and G's, I said, I wonder if it'll play on the Win600. And I had zero expectations. Lo and behold, I put it on there, I fired her up, and she runs. Your more heavy-duty Switch games probably aren't going to run on here, but these lighter titles, kind of the same as PC games, the lighter ones, the indie ones, they'll run fine on here. And kind of owing to the form factor, it works. So if you look in the corner, we're hovering around 50 FPS, but since this game runs at 30 on the Switch, it doesn't even seem like it's running slow. Now, I'd originally gotten a bunch of my ROMs and put them on here. I was going to use RetroArch as a front end, kind of. And then I remembered I had this little Batocera flash drive. If you don't already have a low-profile flash drive, this could be a decent option. I'll leave a link to this one in the description. It actually came with a bunch of games that I deleted, but by deleting the random games I didn't need, like the Game Boy Advance library had all of the Shrek and Cartoon Network movies. Like, I'm not going to watch Game Boy Advance movies on here. So I deleted that, freed up a fair amount of space, and I was able to put PS2 and GameCube and other higher-end games on here. Now, with Batocera, either through a purchased little flash drive or making your own, it turns this x86 machine into a dedicated emulation station style retro handheld. One of the main advantages of using Batocera to run your retro games on something like the Win600 is that you don't have to screw around with on-screen keyboard or double-clicking stuff and troubleshooting RetroArch or whatever. You put your files in there, you scrape your stuff, and it runs just like you would expect, as if, say, this came out of the box. And you said, you know what, I know what I'm getting out of here. Just for S's and G's, we're going to do some of the lower-end stuff. Your lower-end systems come pre-set up with these bezels, which is kind of neat. You can always go in and change settings and get rid of the bezels. These 4x3 games, I don't mind the bezel, but Game Boy Advance came preset with this giant Game Boy Advance bezel, and it was like, I kind of want to see the screen. So that's the only one I really changed. Well, that's not good. There we go. I will say, the default Batocera hotkeys are weird. Like, if I want to fast forward, I have to hold down select and press this button. Like, that's like the least intuitive thing ever. Oh, geez, am I going to get too greedy? Ugh. Wow. Here's where it all falls apart, Gary. Holy crap. See, I took the bezels off this one. I like this wide Game Boy Advance action. Son of a... Whoa! Now GameCube runs really well on here. GameCube can run pretty steady at 720p, which is great because that's what the resolution of this screen is. I miss the stinking boxes. Whoa. That was a pretty bad way to end it. Now, your Wii performance on here is also going to be pretty good. Whee! Now, the Win600 also plays 3DS amazingly. So this is my standard Fire Emblem Shadows of Valentia. It's really hard to run because there's a lot of crazy 3D stuff, and I can run this at 2x normal resolution with very few dips. Good job, Faye. PSP runs fine on here. This will run okay at 2x with a little bit of hiccups. Definitely won't run at 3, but a lot of other games will run at 3. I'm just leaving God of War at 1x because I want it to run as smooth as possible. It's always a bigger fish. Get dunked on. PSP runs great on here, 2x to 3x. I had to plug it in. It was giving me angry messages about the battery dying. Which brings me to a salient point. The battery life on this is not great. I'm playing Dragon Quest VIII. This is a game that runs pretty well in the intro, and then it chugs in this town. Now, when I ran this in Windows, it didn't do hot. I mean, I dropped down to like 30 FPS, and it was just very slow and deliberate. But running it through Batocera, through RetroArch, I mean, it dropped down to 59.8. I mean, this right here would have just been a slideshow at this point in Windows. So PS2 performance is noticeably better, for me at least, in Batocera on this. And that hasn't always been the case. If you go back and look at some of the videos that came out when the Win600 was brand new, a couple people tried running Batocera with PS2, and it was a mixed bag. But this is actually running pretty well. Well, hell, color me impressed. This actually will play more of the PS2 library than I initially thought it would. Well, Gary, thanks to our friends at Geek Buying for sending us this Win600, we learned the Win600, 1 year in, offers better performance than it did previously. Now, I don't know if it's the newer version of Batocera. I don't know if there's been enhancements to the cores since this first came out, but PlayStation 2 performance, in Batocera at least, is improved. Now, PlayStation 2 performance through Windows, it stinks. But Batocera, it's good, which is weird, because that's not what I was expecting at all. So that being said, with Batocera in place, this will run pretty much any retro system all the way from Atari through GameCube and some, not all, maybe 75% of the PS2 library. You can do Wii, you can do 3DS on here. 3DS performance, pretty good. And this screen, this beautiful screen, it's not the best screen I've ever seen. It's a vibrant screen. It's 6 inches. It's a 16:9 aspect ratio. So all your modern games will play on here, and your retro games will scale nicely. It's dynamite for widescreen games. On the Windows side, you can also play a bunch of your indie games. You can play light Switch games. You can do Game Pass streaming or Game Pass install stuff. I just installed a couple things from my Steam library to give it a shot. But if you guys like that, maybe I can do another video where I get stuff from Game Pass or more stuff from Steam. See all the indie titles we can play on here. But it'll play AAA stuff from about 6 or 7 years ago at low settings. I wouldn't try to push it beyond that. And I definitely wouldn't try to, download Starfield on here or Baldur's Gate, because it ain't gonna work. This video is just kind of a superficial look at the Win600 in 2023, 1 year in. You can get SteamOS on here. You can upgrade it to tiny Windows 11. You can really maximize your performance and squeeze a little bit more out. But that really wasn't the focus of this video. The focus was, what do I get from a Win600 pretty much out of the box in 2023? Now, I'm kind of torn on this. I don't know. For what you get, I don't know that $350 is the best bang for your buck. And it's probably not going to do great for affiliate sales, but I'm going to tell you the truth. I think at $350 in October of 2023, you're in a weird place, because for $50 more, you can buy the entry-level Steam Deck, which will dominate this in every way, except size. I feel like this is a pretty good size. And the ergonomics of it, outside of these sticks, you really kind of have to get your thumbs far out, and the sticks aren't great. They're not as bad as I thought they would be. I kind of got used to it. I feel like I have peasant hands, and I put them to the task, and I just whatever. But they're not as bad as I thought they would, but they're not great. The D-pad and the buttons are fine. Maybe it's just personal preference, but this is kind of a better operating experience for me than compared to the Steam Deck, because I know Windows, and it's pretty responsive touching around. There's a button on the side. It'll bring an on-screen keyboard up, and I honestly didn't have any issues with it. I didn't have to plug in a keyboard. I didn't have to plug in a mouse, which is more than I can say for when I was originally setting up my Steam Deck. But you are in that weird price range where, if you get a base Odin 2, you might not get it until January, but it can do anything this can do emulation-wise, like through Batocera or through standalone emulators, and more. It'll knock the Switch performance out of the park compared to this, and it's pretty much the same price, maybe a little cheaper, depending on if you get an early bird or not. But it's just weird to me because I haven't had a bad experience with it. I like playing it. I like the feel of it. The battery life isn't great, but I can get 2, maybe 3 hours, depending on what I'm playing. Maybe more if I'm just doing emulation stuff. But I don't know, I'm torn. I really like it. I like it in a vacuum. I just don't think you're getting the best bang for your buck in 2023. That being said, I'm going to use this a lot. Almost certainly going to play more retro games on this than I'm going to do on the Steam Deck, just because the Steam Deck to me is a big honking, chonking boy, and you're only going to get him out for specialized stuff. I'm not one of these guys that's going to play Tetris on my Steam Deck. I don't know. I like this a lot. It's just not the best bang for your buck. And if you can get over that and you like what you saw, I wholeheartedly recommend this in a vacuum. I love the Win600. I like it a lot more than I thought I would. Really. I truly do. This isn't just me being like, hey, thanks for the handheld, and I'm going to talk it up. I already told you that $350 isn't the best bang for your buck, but I really do like the handheld. I like it for what it is. It's just, I think, overpriced in October of 2023. I don't know. I don't know what to say, Gary. I feel like the last couple handhelds have been either, holy crap, this is the best thing I've seen in this price range, or wow, this is an incredibly flawed handheld. This is not a flawed handheld. It's just in an awkward spot price-wise. And I can talk in circles for the next 20 minutes if you want about price, but it's pretty cool. It's cheaper than it was at launch. It was over $400, and Geek Buying's selling it for $350 now. But I don't know. Gary, I think we're going to have to do something that we've never done before, and we're just going to have to leave it at question mark. It's really situationally dependent, I guess. If you see yourself as someone that would do a ton of Batocera stuff on here and also use it for Windows stuff, maybe it's the one for you. If you're looking for pure power, it doesn't have as much as the Steam Deck or a lot of the other x86s that have come out since this has come out. It honestly doesn't even have as much power as the game-changing Android stuff that's coming out now, like the Odin 2. So it's just, I don't know. I guess that's what we're going to end it on, Gary. I don't know. What do you think? Can you help? Can you tell me in the comments if you like it? You want me to do more videos on it? It's very intriguing. I like it a lot. It's just, I don't know. Oh well, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, take care of your handhelds, take care of the pet population. Remember to spay and neuter your pets. And from all of us here at Retro Handhelds, I don't know why I was doing Bob Barker. I'm losing my mind. Hey, rip Bob Barker. He has recently passed. Do you guys remember when you were sick and you were like, I don't have cable. It's the 80s or the 90s. You know who was always there for you? Bob Barker. We're going to miss you, Bob.